I know what you're thinking. Why in the heck are we talking about WWF playing cards in today's video? A novelty product from the WWF in 1991 on a wrestling card channel? Well, ladies and gentlemen, these cards rule, and on today's video, I'm going to tell you why. I'm Zhan, and this is Wrestling with Cards, and we're just going to get right into this video. There's not a lot of information out there about this set. I was able to come up with enough information to hopefully give you guys a background on it, but before we get into that, let's take a look back at 1991 in the WWF. Titan Tower was born. We had Mr. America, Mr. G.I. Joe himself, Sergeant Slaughter, turn his back on the United States and become an Iraqi sympathizer in the middle of the real-life Gulf War. Macho Man being bitten by a snake on live TV, Ric Flair and Sid Justice both making the jump to WWF, with Ric Flair bringing the NWA WCW Big Gold Belt with him, The Undertaker starting his WrestleMania streak at 1-0, defeating Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and maybe most importantly, the World Bodybuilding Federation, the WBF, kicking things off in 1991. These were produced by the US Playing Card Company, and it just says Titan Sports on the back of the box. 56 cards in total in this set. It also has this interesting Marvel Entertainment on here. I'm guessing that's because of the Hulk Hogan trademark. We've heard stories about that, but really cool looking box. Ultimate Warrior gives the list of the wrestlers on the back. Just a really cool design. It really screams 90s with all that neon color and of course Ultimate Warrior. And it just screams fun. Like, I look at this package and I'm like, man, that just looks awesome. I want it. There are 14 wrestlers in total in this set, and they represent the traditional playing cards. So each one will have features such as diamonds, spades, aces, joker, hearts, kings, queens, you get the picture. They feature a static image, like a studio shot of the wrestler, but more importantly, they feature those iconic logos that WWF always used to put on everything, whether it was like the backdrop of a promo or slapped on an action figure. WWF had specific character logos for each one, and it just really stood out for the time period, in my opinion. So in this same year, WWF put out the now famous 1991 Classic set. Many call it the Blue Border set. And this features those key, iconic rookie cards of The Undertaker that everybody keeps chasing after. But speaking of Undertaker rookies, and we're talking about these playing cards, something I don't think a lot of people are considering is the fact that there are Undertaker cards in this 1991 playing card set. So technically, I guess these are also rookie cards. You guys know the deal on that. Merlin, Classic, these playing cards, all produced within the same year, all considered rookie cards to me, I guess. But then again, what do I know? I actually like these playing card Undertaker cards better than all of the Classic cards. And for me, it just comes down to two things on that. It's the image, and it's the rarity scarcity. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. These cards are very condition sensitive. They are playing cards after all. So if you buy a used set like this, I bought this used. Most of my sets that I bought have been used. Generally they've been played with like cards. So they're going to have surface scratches. They're going to have wear on the backs, on the fronts where people's hands and thumbs have been all over them. One other thing that I just kind of thought of as I was going through these cards is the fact that when you stop and think about it, these cards have the same image of a wrestler, right? So then they'll have 4 different colors or numbers or types based on the classic style of a playing card. So I got to thinking, could this be the first wrestling card set to feature parallels and to feature a rainbow? Because if you have all 4 wrestlers and they have each different color or each different set or suit that's in the card, that's very similar to a rainbow if you look at current refractors, green, red, black, superfractor, same concept. And I know I could totally be reaching here, but it's just something interesting that I thought of as I was going through these. So let me know what you think about this. Is this the first full parallel set in wrestling? I know we had the 1990 Classic with the purple or pink border, whatever that is. That was technically, I guess, the first parallel cards, but there was only one of those. There wasn't something like this, which is more relatable to modern wrestling, where you can put together the rainbow. So again, let me know in the comments what you think of that. And just one other thing I want to touch on before we get into these cards is when it comes to sports cards, wrestling cards, trading cards in general, most people are going for the mainstream. They're going for what everybody says they should buy, what the market is very liquid on, so to speak. And that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I do that as well. But I also have just always been gravitated to the more oddball, obscure releases. And in my opinion, in the long run, the stuff that's more rare, hard to find, is going to eventually be just as valuable, if not more, than all of those really popular releases. So, for example, I was using The Undertaker. Everyone wants all of those 91 classics. There's a bunch of them in that set. But this one, there's only one. Well, there's 4 in each set. But this is the only one that was put out. So, do those end up surpassing the other ones? I don't know. I don't think a lot of people are going to like the aesthetics of a playing card as well as a traditional trading card. I personally do, but again, we'll get into that with the images in just a second. Just a reminder before we jump into those cards, go check out Wrestling with Cards, the podcast, Worlds Collide, Wrestling Card Podcast, 2 wrestling card podcasts that I'm helping produce, and there's just additional content to go along with these videos. Make sure to check out Wrestling with Cards on Patreon, where you can help keep the show going, support the show monetarily, as well as getting bonus footage for your efforts and getting recognized. Maybe steering the way the content's going to go based on what you want to see. But enough of that. Let's get into these cards. We're kicking things off with the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan. Iconic image. It doesn't get any more iconic than this, actually. In my opinion, super highly underrated card. When you look at this just screams 90s, early 90s Hulk Hogan. For whatever reason, it reminds me of like Hasbro figures. I used to love those things, but just one of my favorites in this set. And I talked earlier about how I kind of consider these like parallel cards, and this is what I'm talking about. So you've got the same Hogan card, different colors in the background. You also have the different sets. However, it's the same image. So would you, now that you're seeing this, consider this one of the first wrestling card rainbows that you could be put together? Not sure. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. Next card on the list, Macho Man, Randy Savage. Very weird year for Macho Man, 1991. He lost a retirement match to Warrior at WrestleMania 7. He then became a commentator. Then him and Liz were married at SummerSlam on screen. Then he went on to feud with Jake the Snake Roberts with his good old buddy, The Undertaker, which led to Randy getting bit by a snake live on TV. Next card, Liz, Miss Elizabeth. Really not much to say about this. It's Miss Elizabeth. If you're an Elizabeth fan, it's a cool card. Ultimate Warrior. Love it. Huge Warrior fan, regardless of what all the smart marks and the fans want to say about him and his past. I've always been a huge fan. Great image. It's the same image used on the cover of the box. So this is your cover art star. The Legion of Doom. This is the only tag team card to be featured in this set on the same card. You guys know I love the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom. What a shot here. Now here's the question. Do you all prefer the old school black and silver spiked and different face paint NWA, AWA Japan era Road Warriors? Or do you like this version, the WWF Legion of Doom with the trademark red and black spikes? Let me know in the comments. One more thing I want to talk about, I mentioned earlier about how they have these logos that were just really famous. And those are on all the cards in this set. I'm sure you've noticed some. Just an added little touch of awesome 90s nostalgia added to all of these cards. Rest in peace, it's The Undertaker. Look at that image. This is the biggest card in this set in my opinion. Such a great shot of The Undertaker here. Similar image to what was used on there's a card in the Merlin set, and there's a similar card in the 91 Classic as well. Since these cards were produced in 91, again, I'm going to say these are also rookie cards because they're in the same year as those other cards that everyone else is calling rookie cards. I'm calling this one as well. Like I said, it is my favorite because of the image and because of, once again, that super awesome logo that WWF used to put on everyone's stickers, cards, action figures, etc., backgrounds during when they're doing promos. But look at that face. Look at that image. It just doesn't get any more Undertaker than this, as opposed to some of those other cards where he's with Paul Bearer. We all love Paul Bearer, right? or where he's jumping off a top rope or doing a move. Like, this is way better of a card, in my opinion. Big Boss Man. Another cool logo there, another good image. Really cool Boss Man card. Never a massive fan of Boss Man, but you know what? At least it's better than Ray Trailer or the Guardian Angel. Mr. Perfect. Very cool card here of Mr. Perfect, but there really just isn't much to say about it. A lot of people are wanting his 82 All-Stars, and there's some prior cards, but this is still a really good card if you're a Mr. Perfect fan. The Dragon. Ricky Steamboat. Now, there's some interesting notes here. He's being billed as the Dragon. If you look at this logo, it looks like an awesome amusement park thing that would be hanging above a roller coaster. But let's look at this. He's not billed as Ricky Steamboat, just the Dragon. One of those wonky WWF naming moves, I guess, where Vince wants to own everything. Not really sure. Although this is one of his newer gimmicks at the time he was doing. Kind of trying to look like a real-life dragon with his ring attire, and he would get on the top rope and breathe fire, etc. So, pretty cool card, just an interesting backstory on it. The Warlord. I've always been a big Warlord fan, regardless of which incarnation he was in. Whether it was just him as a single starting on the NWA, Powers of Pain. This one was one of my favorites, though, but probably for all the wrong reasons. When I look at this card, he looks like a menacing Lord Zed from Power Rangers wannabe or something. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Really cool image used here, but once again, nothing else really to write home about as far as this card, other than just being a cool shot because he's got plenty of cards out before this. Hacksaw Jim Duggan's got his 2x4 looking just like you remember him from the 90s, screaming, "Ho, USA! Thumbs up, pal!" Great photo. I'm just personally not the biggest fan of him as a wrestler. I don't know why. I did like his work in Mid-South Wrestling, but for whatever reason, once he got to WWF and WCW, I was just not really interested. The British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. Braid hair bulldog, what I like to call him during this time period. It's an okay card, I guess. Once the tag team of the British Bulldogs broke up and it was just kind of Davey Boy Smith as a single star, I just really wasn't as much of a fan going forward. I don't know. I love the tag team, but when they broke off, just wasn't as big of a fan. But still a cool card if you're a Bulldogs fan. The last card in the set, and boy is it a good one, Roddy Piper, and of course, of all things, they would make him the Joker in the set. That's just fantastic. You couldn't have got any better than that. Roddy looking here like he just walked off the set of a movie. He's ready to go fight. This is just such an awesome card. Probably one of my favorite Roddy Piper cards, to be honest. It's just, when you look at this with the Joker theme, the logo, and his look, this is exactly what Roddy Piper is, and this is exactly what I will always remember him looking like, just summing up his entire career between movies, wrestling, everything. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for checking it out. Hopefully you enjoy this set. Go out and buy some of these cards. They're relatively inexpensive, and I think a lot of them will look really good graded. I've seen a lot of them graded. You can go out and find some of them in the slabs right now. And if you do get these in high grade, you're talking a few $100s as we speak, and those could eventually just go up like everything else. Like I said, hopefully I gave you some good information. Give me one of these. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure to share this video everywhere you can. And until next time, click on the videos on the screen for more great wrestling card content. I'll see you there.